because, or it must have been ABC, because when I sign into ESPN, and so I could watch it.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Wait. What the hell is going on here? You were on there. Everything was fine. You have a terrible producer. I can tell you that. Hey, there he is.
Hey! It's the Camp Show.
Yeah.
Rogue Media.
Look at that.
Sports Network.
Today is Wednesday.
Wednesday. You heard it here first. Over. The Boston Celtics are back.
What are you going to do without suffering, though?
Oh, suffering makes me who I am, Mike.
Okay.
It really does.
Like a rock.
Honestly, I am a top 10 complainer in the world.
Like a rock in a stream.
Sure.
You know, it just carves you. It forms you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm...
You're pretty good at it.
Anything.
Yeah, you're pretty good at it.
I like to keep it mostly reasonable. Is that fair?
I like a good bitching, too, though. You know, I mean, yeah.
Anyway.
Old man yells at cloud kind of thing.
As well, but the Celtics back out there. They raised the banner. At least that's what I think. That's what I've been told. They raised the banner last night. They got their rings, and then they just pummeled the New York Knicks. Supposedly the second best team in the NBA, making all these moves in the summer. They retooled their whole team in the summer just to get closer to the Celtics. And then I'm listening halfway through the first game against the Celtics. The broadcast is saying, boy, where would this Knicks team be without Miles McBride? Like that is an A-OK, A+ on your summer reading project, New York Knicks. 132-109, and it wasn't even that close. And, of course, I am burying the lead here because what we saw in that game is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on a basketball court. And I don't know what's more impressive, the Celtics shooting through the first three quarters or they're shooting in the fourth quarter. Because as you probably know by now, the Celtics tied the NBA record for most three-pointers in a game. They tied it with 9.5 minutes left and then missed their last 13 threes to end the game. That is almost impossible. That is almost impossibly bad. In fact, the stat that was brought up post-game was the percentage of them breaking that record once they got to 29 with 9.5 minutes left. They had a 99.7% chance, the way they were shooting, to break that record. What you saw was historic last night. It's funny, I was on a FaceTime with Grace, and so it was kind of the end of the game, so I'm watching it on mute, and like every time the Celtics hit the ball, they're showing people in the stands like with their phones out about to record something, and every time they shoot, like the fans are standing up. I'm like, they're up by 30 points. What is this? Like, I know beating the Knicks is awesome, but they're what? And I'm like, oh my God, they've got to be about to break a record. Like they have to be. Most three-pointers, I'm guessing, because they keep shooting threes. And then I watched like the last 3 minutes, and they're shooting every time down, man. Pritchard, Hauser, Tillman, Walsh, like they're all taking them, and an almost impossible stretch of 13 missed threes to end the game. I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like that. A team that shot that well through three quarters, just blowing it in the fourth. Obviously, it doesn't matter in terms of the final score. It's the only quarter that the Knicks won, by the way. They were even in the second quarter, 31 apiece, and they won the fourth quarter, 22-19. They lost by 23 points. The Celtics, a team with the most 20-point victories, and I think most 20-point leads of anyone in NBA history last year, only took them 11 minutes to get their first one in 2024-25. man, what a day. What a day to be a Boston Celtics fan, because they look just as scary as they did last year. And yes, it is one game, but 82-0 is still on the table. People forget that. 82-0 is still on the table for your Boston Celtics.
I didn't forget that.
You got that penciled in?
I've told you that 100 times. 82-0 until you're not.
I mean, true. That is true. And it's almost as if they were one of the best teams in NBA history last year and just like rolled through the postseason, and then they brought their whole team back. It's almost as if that were the case. Good luck, everybody else. I mean, goodness me. The only fun the Knicks had last night was, I'm guessing, the Knicks fans watching Shabuzi. That was really the highlight of the night for me. The game was cool. I'm glad that they played the game, but really Shabuzi out there in City Hall Plaza is a great way to kick off the season. By the way, Mike, have you ever seen City Hall in Boston?
Never seen City Hall in Boston, no, and I've never seen Shabuzi, and I feel empty inside.
Boston City Hall, I think, is a great bit. And what I mean by that is Boston is a beautiful city. It's historic, old. They've really taken care of it, specifically the last couple of decades, in terms of, get some greenery, get some trees out there. It's a beautiful town.
It's been there for a while, huh?
And then in the middle of it, yeah, it's been around. And then in the middle of it is quite literally the ugliest building in the history of the world as their city hall. It's so, and it's now a joke. It's like it's the ugliest city hall in America. And it's just so funny, like that's in kind of the centerpiece of this great American city. It's just this dog shit city hall.
What does it make it so? Why is it so ugly? I don't
You want to
understand.
look up a picture of it. It's just like, it's very, you'll be like, oh yeah, this was built in the 70s. You'll understand. It's just a cement slab that's featured prominently in The Departed, by the
Are we
way.
talking about this one? The one that's all shaped like a ancient Egyptian.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. It looks like
Yeah.
a massive parking garage.
Oh yeah, that's terrible looking.
It's awful.
Oh.
It's awful.
I say burn Boston down. I mean, oh, you're saying the rest of it's okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it's
Sorry.
pretty great.
Sorry.
Yeah. Pretty great. In fact, it's the only place in the country, Mike, where you can do what I'm about to describe. Because in the center of Boston, they have this very old cemetery, like 400 years old. Some very famous people are buried there, including John Hancock and Samuel Adams. And across the street from it is the oldest bar in the United States. So it's the only place you can have a cold Sam Adams while looking at a cold Sam Adams. Thank you. Thank you. Say what you will.
I was
Zach
just happy
didn't do
I
that
hit the
for
right
me.
button.
Yeah, me too. That was pretty quick. I'm excited about that. Back to the Celtics, who were not cold. They were pretty hot throughout this game. They still shot it an incredible amount from three. What was the percent? They still shot it 48% from three. They missed their last 13. And it was Tatum from the beginning, by the way. We talked about that jump shot he was working on in the summer. And I said, if he gets back up to 40% from three, which he's done before, if Jason Tatum gets back to 40% from three, he is undoubtedly a top three player in the league. Undoubtedly. And all he does last night in 30 minutes is give you 37 points, 14 of 18 from the floor, and 8 of 11 from three. 8 of 11. He needs to be shooting more than 2 free throws. In fact, the Celtics barely shot any free throws the whole night. I think they shot 8 the whole night. Yes, 7 of 8. So he does need to get to the line more because that's what I thought, something that he really added to his game last year. But I'll take 37 points on 8 of 11 from three, 4 rebounds and 10 assists, and a plus 26 on opening night against what is supposedly the second best team in the league. By the way, we read that letter yesterday, Mike. You remember that?
I do remember that.
The husband to his wife. Do you think she's left him?
I don't think she did because I think she's a big fan as well.
Mm.
Otherwise, I'm not sure how that marriage stays together.
And it's not even like, oh, he's so rude. It's just like, really? This is the team he gets behind? This is it? This is the team he's been hyping up to me the whole year, the whole summer, about how this is finally going to be their year. This is the team, the Knicks. Brutal, mate.
Yeah, that's it. It seems like one of those murder-suicide situations.
Probably. Karl Anthony Towns gave you 12 points. How about that? 12 points, 7 rebounds, a crisp minus 18. How about your other big time acquisition, New York? Mikal Bridges, 2 of 7 from 3,
Mikhail.
broken jump shot,
Ooh.
16 points, negative or minus 33. Minus 33. A great tribute to Larry Bird. Their only plus players out there were something called Huckporty,
God bless you.
Tyler Kolek, and something called P. Dadiet.
P. Diddy?
It's just some scrubs who came in at the end of the game when the Celtics were just trying
Go in
and
there and get
missing
10,
every
kid. Go
single
in there and
three.
get 10.
And then the Celtics, by the way, they missed 13 straight threes to end the game. And their last possession, they just dribbled it out. They just dribbled out the clock. And the fans were like booing. They were ready for history for this whole time. They probably paid like $1,000 just to get in to see the banner raising ceremony. And they're like, oh, we could see NBA history as well. And Joe Mazzulla was basically telling his team, like, you had your chances. Now let's dribble it out and get to the end of this thing and not show up this second best team in the NBA. Thankfully, the Celtics dribble it out and show some mercy against the second best team in the NBA. Yeah, man. Obviously a great ceremony beforehand. They gave out the rings. It was great. Jason Tatum had a few words to say, which really got the crowd hyped before this one.
Woo. Man, man, this is special. Honestly, man, on behalf of me, my teammates, the organization, we couldn't have did it without you last year. So let's enjoy this moment together. I can honestly say to the best fans in the world, let's do it again.
Yeah. Yes. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, Jason. I can already feel the Twitter fingers. Man, people must have been punching air. Oh, this dude is so corny. He's so corny. He's overrated and corny ass. That went dumb. That was tough.
If there were still ringtones, that would be your ringtone. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Just over and over and over.
Yes. Dude, that was tough. He put it out there on the line. Let's do it again. And all he did was go in there and back it up with 37 points and 8 of 11 3-point shooting. Again, if he has figured out the 3-point shot again, which he used to have and has gone away the last couple of years, look out, NBA. If he gets his money right from 3, look out. He and Brown, if they become 40% 3-point shooters, which is very good for, guys who are that good and everything else, they're both top 6 or 7 players in the league.
It's a formidable group.
It's a good group. It's a good team.
Formidable group.
I think this Celtics team is okay.
I think this Celtics team is better than your last champion Celtics team.
Like last year?
No. I mean, the last championship you won.
They're all in their prime or more in their prime.
That's what I'm saying.
More
I think because you have more promise with this thing going forward, this team is better.
How about Ray Allen was there last night? Ray Allen, Garnett, and Pierce all out together like they're friends again. Love that. I love that, man.
Yeah.
They're friends again, Mike.
Yeah, I get it.
It's great. It's great.
It's like that time on Rugrats when all the babies hugged each other.
Yeah. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That's just what it was like, man. Shit. Oh, great night. Bob Cousy was out there in the wheelchair, 96 years old, throwing up the peace sign, just dunking on everybody else, It was not, and I guess this has to do with kind of more of the 60s guys dying out, but like there were only a couple of legends there that were on the court. I think it was just Kuz, Cedric Maxwell, and then the big three there, Garnett, Ray Allen, and Pierce.
Well, you've lost a lot of guys.
Yeah. No more Russell, no more the two Joneses. Larry Bird will never show up. You can't pay him enough money to show up to a public event. I saw Robert Parrish at Game 4 here in Dallas. Surprised he wasn't there, but I don't know. You don't need to overdo it. Havlicek's gone. He carried out the trophy the last time they did the banner raising ceremony. Liked those jackets they had, gold jackets or white and gold, and it's got all the championships down the sleeve. I could have done with some green on it. Literally no green on it at all. And here is the team that's most synonymous with the color of any team in the world.
What if you just open the jacket and it's green all inside?
That could be something.
That'd be pretty flashy.
I think they sold them for like $300 or something, but I didn't get one. I did not get one. And I had done so much planning. My nights are typically busy. I did so much planning on Monday night to make sure I had everything done so I could go home from work right at 6 Central Time, which is when the ceremony started. And I wanted to see this ceremony. I wanted to see the ceremony, and I wanted to see them raise the banner. That's really what I wanted to see. TNT had other ideas because this was the nation's view of the 2024 World Championship banner raising ceremony in Boston. Like, what is that? What is that? Are you kidding me? Like, are you actually kidding me? Oh, good thing I got to see, Steve Paliuca, the co-owner, pick up his championship ring, but I don't get to see the banner go up. This is why you're losing, TNT. I used to like you, but you don't deserve this league after that. What is that? That's like the whole reason for the ceremony. We can't even see the rings. Honestly, if you have to cut something out, I'd so much rather you cut out the ring, giving them the rings because we can't see them. We want to see the championship banner get raised up, and then I get some stupid DoorDash commercial. Like, what is that? Like, I was very angry about that last night.
This is nothing new in professional sports, though. Televised professional sports. I mean, because I had to watch a game one time on NBA TV where it was
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, where it was 4 guys that had played in the league. They're sitting in leather chairs watching the game I'm trying to watch on a screen. And most of the time the cameras are on these guys just talking about memories and smoking cigars. What did I stumble into?
Hell yeah.
That was the only way to watch the game.
I'd rather watch it in Spanish.
I'd rather watch it.
Something against Spanish, I just don't
pictures.
know it.
I'd rather watch that. It was rough.
And okay, I understand. Like, I've worked in TV. Like, you've got commercials, you gotta hit. You got times you gotta hit. But this is a live broadcast, and they know for a basketball game that you don't have times you can hit like a newscast, right? You have certain timeouts in the game where you do it, but it's not going to be the same time all the time, like time on the clock. And so I guess that's what they were doing. They were just like, we need to hit this break. And it's like, but you're about to do a basketball game. Just don't sell ad spots with the same frequency that you would for any TV show. But I did get to see Shabuzi, to see that whole Shabuzi performance, which was cool. Apparently, country singer.
I like how I knew the thing had started because I got a text from you, just a picture of Shabuzi.
That was the highlight. The basketball game was cool, but really it was the Shabuzi concert that I was into in the world's ugliest City Hall Plaza.
Well, I think we've decided to use Shabuzi as a verb now, correct?
Yes.
Did we decide that
more or less?
Yeah.
More or less.
Oh no, I've been Shabuzied. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Have a Shabuzi day.
Have a Shabuzi.
Which that's a noun right there.
Yeah, well, it's an adjective, I guess.
Shabuzi,
right?
Yeah, maybe that's better.
Shabuzi can be slippery.
How can Shabuzi be an onomatopoeia? That's what I want to know.
Shabuzi.
Exactly.
There it is. I did it.
And after the game, we talked with Greeny yesterday about Joe Mazzulla. I can't get enough of him until if and when he ever starts losing. I can't get enough of him, man. I mean, I think he's actually a genius who also knows how to handle the modern NBA player, and he's an absolute psychopath. So he's also a big Celtics guy. So Mazzulla gets called out there for his ring, and he gets down on all fours and he kisses the court, the parquet floor, before he goes out and gets the ring. And so he's asked after the game, they say, what did the floor taste like? And he says, like blood. or at least I wish it did. And I was like, that's the most insane thing he said. Like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are entering into their peak years, and I think the Joe Mazzulla psycho quotes are also reaching their peak. This is we have not seen basketball / psycho quotes on this level in NBA history. Like, it's at least I wish I did. Why did you wish it did? Why do you wish it tasted like blood? What? Are we going to ask some questions? Man, if Joe Mazzulla has bodies in the basement, this will be the red flag that they'll point to and say, why didn't we start here? What a guy, man. What a
always
coach.
so quiet. He just kept to himself.
Yeah. The neighbors, they loved him.
The neighbors loved him.
Yeah.
Then he licked that court.
So it needed to taste like blood. And then I started smelling stuff from the basement. You know, it was like the only killer they didn't say that about, like the neighbors loved him, was the guy from Milwaukee who was eating people. Dahmer, yeah. Everyone was like, yeah, we could have saw that coming. All his neighbors were like, it smelled like ass over there. He was very weird, and people would come in and then not leave.
Yeah, it was odd.
But other than that, I don't think there's anything to say he would have been a serial killer.
But he always had a nice stew going.
Yeah, I was going to say. He kept offering us stew. It's weird. It had a little kick to it. Like, there could have been someone who moved into his apartment complex that got like a nice housewarming gift, and it was stew, and you just ate someone's body.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
That could have happened. This is what happens. We start innocently talking about a Celtics game. Joe Mazzulla gets brought into the conversation, and then bam, we're talking about Jeffrey Dahmer's neighbors eating people that he killed.
Keep your lips
It's
off the
just
floor.
like Mazzulla would like, I think. What a guy. What a team, man. 132 to 109. 82-0. It's still on the table. They got Washington tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, what a hapless franchise Washington is. So one more quick thing, because I gotta get to Bruins in the second segment, but
God, I wish they were still the Bullets.
It's a better name.
He was even spelled wrong. What's wrong with it?
I don't know. Stupid. DC's not a good sports town. And who gives a shit about the Wizards, man? What a terrible franchise. Like, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for people in that area who want to grow up rooting for their local basketball team. And it's like, what are you going to do? They're the Wizards. And I saw someone make a point yesterday that was like, there's more like championship headline kind of players around the league than there probably ever has been. You know what I mean? Like, with obviously the core with the Celtics, but you still got like Golden State still got Curry, and they're not very good anymore, right? Or the Knicks, who are trying to knock on the door, they got one. Philly's got one. Miami's got one. Denver's got one. You know what I mean? So it's all over the place. And it used to be just like really 3 or 4 or 5 teams could have that. Now there's like 10, 8 or 10. And still, there are more hapless franchises than there's ever been because of how teams tank. Washington would be a great example. Charlotte's an example. New Orleans was an example and could be in a couple years. Again, you know what I mean? Sacramento used to be one for years. Portland is one. They're all over the place now, maybe more than there ever has been because of tanking and teams like the Spurs who tank and it works. Twice.
That's what
generational. 3 times.
That's what we do, baby.
3 times, man. And it works. Oklahoma City worked. Philly, to some extent, worked. If Oklahoma City worked, we got to say Philly worked, right? They've made it the same amount, or they've made it just as far. So, anyway, Celtics, best basketball team on the planet.
Some of these teams have to rebuild an entire culture before they can do anything, though. You know, like when you're talking about Philadelphia, and I know Pete's here, but
Pete is here.
Their culture was like through the floor. You know, and now they've rebuilt this winning culture there, and so hopefully they're able to add to that.
That's
not
good
for
analysis.
you, but
it's good analysis. Yeah. It's good stuff. The Bulls, they suck. You want to hear my sob story of the day? Actually, before we get into this break, the Celtics go. So Grace now lives in Chicago, and I will be living in Chicago in a few months. And yet the Celtics only go to Chicago this year before I move there. And Grace is doing Thanksgiving with her family in Chicago and invited me to it. And I was like, I can't go because we've got a Baylor football game on that Saturday at home that I have to do the pregame show for. And it's like, Baylor has stunk this year. They're playing Kansas, who also really sucks. And it's like the one time the Celtics go to Chicago is on Black Friday. Like it could have been great. We could have all gone to it. Instead, I can't because I got to do it. It's tough being me. It's really tough being me.
We see the other side of it, Cam. We got you.
Anyway, Celtics are great. Bruins suck, man. We got to go over this. That's coming up next on the Cam Show. Sports. Oh, are we back? Oh goodness. I didn't realize. So and this is something that happened last night that I never failed to realize. And that was that like at halftime of the Celtics game, I was like gonna go to YouTube, just watch something for a couple minutes. I need to be constantly stimulated. And then I was like, I got the message to my phone, Bruins Predators, 15 minutes. I was like, oh, that's right. My other team plays tonight. I just had Tuesday completely blocked off for the Celtics and the banner raising night. And I didn't even get to watch the banner go up. Thank you, TNT. But yes, the Bruins played last night. They played the Nashville Predators. Mike, how do you feel about that mascot?
Nashville Predators?
Yeah.
I don't like the name. I'm not I like the saber-toothed tiger. I mean, that's
cool,
great.
right?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's cool.
Predator, though? Yeah.
Yeah,
A little rough.
That's another Grace reference here. She like cannot hear that name without A, saying how ugly she thinks the uniforms are, and B, how can it be 2024 and there's a team called the Predators?
Yeah, I get that.
It's tough. It's tough. I don't know what you do as Nashville. Like, it's like we know you're not talking about pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't even say that on YouTube. They'll
Plebophiles.
Peter files.
Peter files. Pedos.
Like they know you're
Petos.
not talking about that, but like it is kind of almost implied now. Yeah. That like that's a weird thing. But yeah, Corey, I'm on the air. I got people coming in here
We're good,
ready
we're
to
good.
fudge with
Right in the
everything.
middle of
I'm
your
just
pedo
on the
talk,
air.
too. It's
I'm
rough,
on the
yeah.
air
Yeah.
talking about Peter Files and them playing hockey. But yes, the Bruins played last night, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was their worst game since, I don't know, January, February. 4-0, they dropped to Nashville. And I think we're faced with the fact that this team might stink. This team might stink. Their top 9 forwards stink right now. They can't generate anything 5-on-5. Nothing. In fact, in the game the other night, they only had 5 shots, 5-on-5 from their first 3 lines in the game against Utah in that horrible arena. And last night, it did not get much better. They rolled out a second line of Max Jones, Charlie Coyle, and Trent Frederick. And yesterday, I couldn't handle myself. I couldn't trust myself yesterday when that line was announced, because someone on this Bruins Facebook group was like, here's the line. And I said, this has to be the worst second line in hockey. It just has to be. And I like those guys all individually for different reasons. They are not second line players, and they're all on the second line. And it's like, this is how bad the Bruins forward depth is. And we had Matt Barry talking about it last week. We'll have him on tomorrow, saying, I thought this team got better in the offseason, even after kind of a good start. When we talked to him last week, he's like, I don't know if this team's better. I think they got worse by letting DeBrusk walk. And I was out here saying, I think it's okay to let DeBrusk walk because I think he's underperformed, but how do you replace him? And they didn't replace him. Morgan Geekie is not replacing him. He's been a healthy scratch. He did put on 3 shots on goal yesterday, but like Johnny Beecher and Matt Patra and Cole Koepke, that's not replacing Jake DeBrusk. We did get one bright spot in this game when Mark Kastelik dropped the gloves, and I don't want it to be like the saving grace from this game, but it was pretty sick. Can we get the dance on the ice, Mike?
You'll see who you talked about. He's already won the Norris once. We got a bout here on the right circle.
Pete and I can reenact it if you want. I'll be Mark Kastelik, and Pete can be Luke Shen.
It's not coming up.
You'll see who you talked about. He's already won the Norris once. We got a bout here on the right circle. It's Kastelik dropping the gloves. Kastelik a right. Kastelik a right. Kastelik another right. He's going with Luke Shen right now. Kastelik just a couple of right hooks. Kastelik again. Kastelik a right. He buckled Shen, and down he goes.
Number 47, Boston. Number 2, Nashville. Both guys 5 each for fighting.
Right off the draw. Kastelik right inside that face-off circle. Now keep in mind, Shen's a defenseman. Probably some nonverbal communication that this was going to happen as soon as the puck was put into play. Kastelik get the better of this bout. Got a little nervous when I saw that right hand constantly maybe catching some helmet.
First off, that's as good a bout as you're going to see in the NHL these days. Like, they just don't let them go a lot. And it's Kastelik and Shen. Shen's got a couple inches on him, but they're the same weight. They're basically the same size. And Kastelik just knocks the crap out of him. Just knocks his brains in. Look at that. He was not chilling. And then, I mean, that's one of the great ref calls I've ever heard. Did you hear that, Mike?
I heard that.
5 minutes each for fighting. My man's trying to be in the WWE. Like, that's what he's trying to get to next. He's trying to be Michael Buffer.
That was very exciting. Very exciting.
That was sick.
Yeah.
I
understand the uniform hatred, though.
It's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a great uniform.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say. And plus, the thing with it, like, I think the jerseys itself are okay, but the problem is the yellow helmets to me really suck.
Yeah.
But if you do blue helmets, it also kind of looks odd. I don't know. I think they did white helmets at one point. It's not great.
It's the same gripe I have about the pajamas that they wear in the NFL. You know, it's all one color.
Color rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like pajamas.
I guess. Who is the worst one?
I'll tell you what I hate the most is when anybody who's red is playing anybody else who's red. I hate that. It was the Chiefs and the Niners.
Better dead than red, I
Chiefs
say
and
that.
Niners playing the other day. So much red.
Oh, but 2 good uniforms.
Yeah, two pretty good
Good
uniforms.
classic uniforms.
Yeah.
Bruins classic uniform.
Yeah.
Not good at the hockey, though. I mean, just, again, too many penalties, not putting enough shots on goal, just no offense generated at 5-on-5. Elias Lindholm is giving you nothing offensively. He took a penalty in this one. He's a -3. He's the only Bruins forward that was a -3. Actually, only Bruins player who was -3. Elias Lindholm. That's a guy you're paying almost $8 million a year. Nikita Zadorov, another guy you're paying in free agency. He was -1. He got 4 shots, which isn't a great thing for the Bruins. And he's taken a penalty in all but 1 game this year. So, actually, no, he's taken a penalty in every game this year. Nikita Zadorov has taken a penalty in every game the Bruins have played this year. And Elias Lindholm is the only -3 on the night. Like, I know it's early in the season, but come on, guys. The reason why you don't look like you're as good is because the guys you brought in also have stunk. But this second line of Coyle, Jones, and Frederick, I mean, what are we doing? Oh, they're tough to play against. Yeah, but they can't put a shot on the goal. Like, how are you supposed to win games if you don't put shots on the net? And they were a little bit better with it last night. They didn't get crushed in that category. They ended up having, what was it? How many shots they have? Well, I can't find that pretty easily, which is silly. But it like, why is that not just at the bottom of the screen? I see everyone's shots. I'm not adding all that up. But it was tight throughout the game. It's not like they were getting crushed like they usually do. But I just don't see, like, the problem coming into this season and why you thought the Elias Lindholm move was going to be so good was because it provided something for Pasternak. You know, Bergeron was always, one of the great passers, one of the great playmakers, and you didn't have that last year. And Pasternak's numbers dipped, his effectiveness dipped because more teams were able to key in on him, especially on the power play. Like, who else are you going to worry about on that team? And now you bring in Elias Lindholm to be that guy, and the numbers are worse through the first couple of weeks. Like, Pasternak, when he's scoring, he needs to do everything himself. No one is making plays on this team. Him included, by the way. Pasternak included. Marchand, he's banged up, and he's just not an effective player right now. Like, the way you cut it, he's not making plays in any of the 3 zones. He's not killing penalties very well. He has not been a force on the power play, and that's going on 2 or 3 years now. They don't have effective special teams. Their goaltending, fine. And Swayman has not been great so far this season. He's been fine. They're not playing physically on the back end. All the bad things that we saw in this team are coming out right now, and it could be a mainstay. Their forwards do not generate offense. We saw it against Toronto last year and through most of the Florida series. Justin Brazeau is not an NHL player. He is not quick enough to play in the NHL. He's just not. Patra is still figuring it out. Cole Koepke, nice story. Is he going to be your leading scorer? Is Max Jones an NHL player? Should we be asking if Max Jones is an NHL player if he's playing on the second line? Morgan Geekie, was he what he gave you for 4 months last year, or is he the guy that put up these kind of numbers the rest of his career? Which guy is he? Pavel Zacha, is he the 20-25 goal scorer that you had on the best team in record-wise in the history of the NHL regular season? Or is he the guy who was like this in Jersey and was like this last year? 20 goals is it's a good mark, but he just doesn't provide you much offensively. He doesn't give you anything on the power play, and you're playing him out there anyway. He's a better penalty killer than he is in a power play, and he had more time on the power play last night than he did on the penalty kill. And was out there less than 12 minutes in even strength. Coyle is only out there for less than 9 minutes even strength, and he's your second line center. That just shows you the belief that they have in that line and the way this team is drawn up right now. But yeah, it stinks. It stinks. And Nashville, by the way, came into this at 0-5. 0-5. Blanked them 4-0. Like, at no point in that game did Nashville look like a winless team, because you made them not look like a winless team. You made them look like a team that had actually won a hockey game this year. 3-3-1, going back home. Not a great road trip. Bad against Utah, and even worse last night. And they almost gave the game away against Colorado. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. McAvoy was a -2, by the way, last night, who I thought had a good first couple of games of the season, where he looked like the Bruce Cassidy, Charlie McAvoy. Hasn't looked like that on this road trip at all. Carlo got down and dirty. He's blocking shots all over the place, but he's a guy who's still not throwing that frame around, not providing anything offensively either. I just need a little something from him offensively. Gave it away 3 times. He was a -1. This team's got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do to become as good as the Celtics. I'll say that. And by that, I mean they would have to become the best team in the world if they want to be like the Celtics.
Also got to get over that puck/ball thing.
Yeah. Yeah. They got to get over that, like, putting the puck in the net thing. I mean, give them some slack, Mike. They've scored a goal in the last 2 games.
Oh,
nice goal.
Nice job.
Wow. Yeah, this team has a ton of work to do. And I don't know if it's so much on the GM. You know, we talked about this with Matt last week. It's like this, you're starting to see the effects of not having anything in the farm system because you went in for those trades at the deadline for so many years, which I can't sit back here and crater them for it now. Like I thought those were good moves and I stick by that. I thought they made their teams better at the deadline and they still choked in the postseason. And now you've got no one to call up from Providence because they don't apparently just do not trust Fabian Lysell or Georgi Merkulov. They just say they're in Providence. They're Providence players. And that might be true. But when you're in a situation like this with your top 9 forwards, it's like, kind of now or never, man. Like when are they going to be ready? And when do you have reinforcements coming in? Because right now the Bruins do not have any. They do not have, no one's coming to save them. And it's just a game of, hey, let's limp to the playoffs off some hopefully good goaltending and defense one of these days. Face Toronto again. You always face Toronto, and then we'll win a playoff series and we'll try and spend some money again in the offseason. That's exactly what they went through last year. And it's going to be the same thing again this year, it looks like. And I don't know that they can get to home ice against Toronto. I don't know that you have a game 7 in Boston again against Toronto. I think Toronto is a better team than what the Bruins are putting out there right now. Of that, I think there's no doubt. I think they are definitely a better team with more firepower. Bruins have a better goaltending situation, but I think they're so far beneath Toronto in their top 9 forwards that it's not going to make too much of a difference. Pete Souza's back. Should we have him on, Mike?
I say yes.
Fine.
We already turned the camera on.
Fine. We'll have Pete on next to catch up on his trip to the Queen City. Here we go. Pete Souza's back.
Mike, it's kind of dark over here.
It is a little dark over there.
Does it make Pete look tan?
I mean, I don't care.
I'm gonna come mess with it.
I'm trying to find this, Pete. You know how much I love commercials and how bad they are?
Go ahead, show me, bud.
What?
Show me the commercial.
I don't have it up. I was looking for the script.
Well, okay.
I was looking for a transcript.
Who is it?
It's an iPhone. I think we've talked about it on here. It's like parents in their bedroom. They're talking about the new iPhone, and they're like, "Oh, shiny new toy." And there's like teenagers listening outside their bedroom for some reason, like listening into their bedroom with a closed door, which makes no sense to me. I've never ever done that with my parents. And they're like, "Ooh, sleek." Shiny. Yeah, and you're like, "Can I hold it?" Well, I'm not going to beg. And it's like, we should do this more often. And the kids are like disgusted. And I'm like, but what are they describing? Like, they're not describing intercourse. You know what I mean? Like, they're
Dude, of course they are.
no, they're not, Pete. Have you seen the commercial? And tell me that you've described sex like that.
It sounds like something off of Three's Company. Like, when like Mr. Furley's listening outside the door and he thinks that Jack and Chrissy are, getting it on, right? And then they have to convince him that
so it's
Jack's gay.
Oh, gotcha. So it's a comedy bit from 50 years ago. Gotcha. All right, I'm just gonna play it into the microphone here.
Yeah, please do.
Oh wait, no, this is an ad review. Hold on.
Is somebody reviewing that
Yeah.
commercial?
Yeah, I kind of want to hear what they have to say. Do they play anything from? And you gotta watch a commercial before you can watch the commercial.
I'm sure you do.
The Cam Show.
Oh my god, this is great. This is great.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh, yes, please.
Feast your eyes on this.
That's sexy. Feels so new.
I want to feel this feeling again and again.
Can I hold it?
How bad do you want to hold it?
I'm not going to beg, but pretty please.
They don't. Go ahead. Press a button.
Oh, it's glowing.
Apple intelligence. We
What
should do this
button that
more
makes it
often.
glow?
Great.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, Pete's like, no, they're talking about sex.
I can decode this for you.
Please, God, dude.
It's all about the hook. The first 5 seconds or 7 seconds, whatever, makes you think it's a sexual encounter.
So that is, and then they have you hooked, and now you're paying attention when they transition to the iPhone. That is 1,000% made to sound like to imply that sex is starting. I mean, please. Don't
Yeah. Okay, so it would be like, but they would be describing like a sex toy or something.
No,
They're clearly describing an object.
Once they get to the button,
it's over. You know what I mean?
So,
But the very first couple things. I mean,
come on, Cam.
I mean, I've done this exercise before. I've just never described it like that.
You've done
Never.
it. I don't understand
What do you mean you've done that exercise?
What they're apparently describing. I have never described it like that.
because you're not
What a weirdo.
I
Wow.
know it's
But,
Pete.
but-
Pete wants to defend everything,
no.
which I think is admirable, Pete.
I can defend some stuff if you want me to.
I find commercials so fascinating these days.
So
I
do
still
I.
like watching them, but
Who are they for? Like
that's it. I think we've talked about this in particular too.
Yeah.
Like I am fascinated by the people in the room who are like, here's what we're going for,
Yeah.
and here's who we're trying to reach. And it all stems from, I know I've talked about this. It all stems from every time we watched a shitty commercial like that as a kid, like watching TV, watching sports games. After it was done, my dad would say, somebody went to college for that. Which is a great line, an absolutely great line. And now they probably said it when I was like 7 years old and all throughout my childhood. And I still think about that every time.
Well, it's
Time I see
think
a shit
somebody
commercial.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Got
can
training that I didn't get.
I can tell you too. It's cool just coming back from where I was, like doing that stuff about you talk about live events, right? Like doing up at this seminar for ESPN. All we talked about was like stuff that you and I would care about, like what matters in the game.
Yeah, I saw
What
you.
matters-
I saw you.
Yeah.
You took pictures of everyone you could. Did anyone stop?
No,
and,
no,
like, tell you to
look,
stop at some point.
First of all, some of those pictures weren't
Pete
even
with the
my,
stars,
they weren't
man.
even my idea. No, yeah, it was awesome. Dude, everybody was there, from Pete Souza to Jay Billis to Jess.
Jay Billis
Sims.
does live in Charlotte, by the way.
Yeah,
so it's not a huge trip for Jay.
Yeah, but
Everyone was there.
dude, everybody that calls games for ESPN was there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you talk to Jay?
I
at
sound
all?
like Regis Philbin. George DeWitt was there. Yeah, Suzanne Summers was there.
George
Actually,
DeWitt.
Johnny Carson showed
That's
up. That
not
was-
bad. That's
yeah.
not bad.
It was
Joyce DeWitt's
really
a good
good.
pull, especially since you just talked about Three's Company.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Joyce DeWitt.
Which we were talking about with through the lens of Freaks and Geeks the other day.
it's true.
We
were talking Joyce DeWitt through the lens
No,
of
we're
Freaks and
talking
Geeks?
Three's Company.
Oh,
through
yeah,
the lens
yeah,
of
Dude,
Freaks
they
and
set
Geeks.
up a picture thing. They had us do like I
a
had to wear
photo
suit-
booth.
Yeah, I had to wear a suit and tie for a picture on Thursday or no Monday, and then Friday I was just chill, but we all had to go get our pictures taken.
Have you ever seen the? I don't know if Kelly was even on it yet. Regis's show on September
sure.
11th.
Kelly was not on it yet. And no, why are you laughing?
Dude, because it's so funny to look back on. Like, he's getting the news. It's happening while he's on the show.
I think Kelly was on the show.
And he's just kind of like, oh, that doesn't sound good. We will get back to that. On to our next thing. And it's just like some random interview. And it's just like, dude,
It's
like
that context
this
thing.
massive thing is
It's that
happening.
context
Like right
thing.
down the street.
It's that context thing we talk about though with movies and stuff too, though. I mean, at the time, that was the only way to handle it.
I guess. Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt is here to talk about time of your life.
Like, that's
Dave Hewitt on
literally-
Fox tomorrow. Okay,
and like Stern, I'm sure you've heard the Stern one from when that's happening. And he he like makes a joke about it, and like it's the quickest that Stern has ever turned. He was just like they announced the second one, and he's like, "Well, this might really be bad."
Yeah,
it's like real, like that kind of guy, that kind of show, like trying to make something out of it, and it's just like, oh boy, this is really not good.
Appreciate the 9/11 turn, Ken.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Anytime.
But she was, just to get history correct, she was not on the show. Kathy Lee was not on the show. Her last show was, I think, 2000, spring of 2000, if I had to guess. I think.
So this was before Kelly.
I think this was after Kelly. I think they had picked Kelly because I specifically remember.
You said Kathy Lee there.
Kathy Lee was gone.
Yep.
And then Kelly had already taken over by
the
9/11.
time. Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, and because I specifically remember Kelly doing a lot of shows, whether she would have like somebody was filming. I honestly specifically remember Puff Daddy, and hosting Regis and Kelly with Kelly right around like 2000, like holidays. And I want you to
Kelly going to be on that list?
I want you to remember this, like that gives an idea into like how far down the road we've gone with Diddy. Like that was like. You thought nothing of it. Him sitting up there.
Of course. I mean, we wouldn't have thought anything of it a year ago.
Yeah. But wow. You know,
it's crazy.
It's funny because I was thinking about. I'm going to talk about LeBron James a little bit on the Pete Souza show today, coming up at 1:00 Central. But honestly, I was thinking like, you know, LeBron is. I just think he's amazing. Like I could to go on like a LeBron like love fest.
Oh, great! That's what we need.
Well, but he
just
really
watch Starting Five on Netflix. There you go.
Well, yeah, but he really is amazing.
Love letter
and
to
like,
himself.
I don't know how many. Like, do we think? I was just thinking in my own head, like, was Diddy like this one? Like, I was like, how quickly can people turn? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did we think about this? Like, maybe 10 years ago we thought this about Diddy. It's just, I don't know. Celebrities are very strange then.
Dude, I didn't like this tweet. I guess I was talking to it with Mike before the show, and it was like this guy. He said my cousin just got out of prison, and he's been texting me on my brother's phone, and the text just says, "JJ Redick is coaching the Lakers now?" ? And he goes, "Bro, wait till you read who number 9 is on the Lakers." And he goes, "Hey, yo, what the fuck?" and he like has a tweet below it, and it's like, "I told him about Dame Lillard to the Bucks, but I think I need to give him a day of rest before I talk about the Dallas Maverick Klay Thompson." Like, it's funny. It is good. It is good. And then, of course, what Twitter is now, because there's a bunch of people in his comment section that's like, "Oh, you can go on the internet in prison."
Oh.
And it's like, and the guy's like, some can,
well,
some can't.
Those are the same.
Clearly, my cousin did not have.
But Cam,
NBA
wouldn't
news.
you say
like,
that they might be the same assholes who watch Apple commercials? Like, oh, this isn't sex.
Maybe.
Oh, they talked about
maybe,
a button.
Maybe.
I mean, come on.
Well, it's like, I don't know. One thing for like, is this guy gaining clout on Twitter if he's making this up? I don't know. Like iPhone doing that, putting a ton of money into that is so funny to me. Like they can't get it right.
JJ Redick coaching the Lakers is strange, but whatever.
My first favorite basketball player.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Really?
Yes.
I appreciated JJ Redick because he was so hated.
Oh, yeah.
And he handled it very well.
Is there a player that gets hated quite like that these days? And JJ was not the only one, but
I'll tell you, it's funny. I was just
different landscape, man. Like it was brutal.
I was singing LeBron's praises, when he went to the Heat and came back to Cleveland. That was like a dangerous situation that first night.
But we're talking still about a different time. That
Yeah,
was
yeah. No,
12
you're
years ago,
I
15 years
yeah,
ago.
you're right.
Like I don't, especially not in college sports. I really don't think there is one.
No, there's not a heel.
Like everywhere he went was a massive deal. They hated this kid.
Yeah.
You know, his phone number would get leaked and he'd get hundreds of phone calls, like a tweet. What's a tweet going to do? They were calling this dude's phone all the time. Like they were bullying his sisters and like it was a bad deal everywhere you went because again, this is not me saying this, but fans saying this because it happened a lot back then. It would be like they were chanting that he was gay, like JJ's gay and all this
I
stuff.
just remember
and, like,
the FU JJ
Maryland
chants, like,
was
so,
just brutal to him.
Yeah.
And of course, he like really leaned into it. I would say he
did.
loved it, but he handled it outwardly pretty well.
He handled it very, very well.
And you just don't have that anymore. There's no great Duke villains anymore. Grayson Allen was the last one.
Yeah.
But him and Reddick and obviously Leitner.
Leitner was the pinnacle, right?
Leitner might be the most hated a college athlete has ever been. And just talking about leaning into it, man.
He was a player I liked. I kind of modeled my game after him because as a white dude who loved hoops, I would say like Christian Leitner was maybe I can too.
Leitner was ahead of his time.
He certainly was.
He could shoot it. And I love that documentary, that 30 for 30. I wouldn't say it's like the best one ever made, but it finally like gave the backstory to Christian Leitner that Duke fans knew forever. Was like he was not the like preppy elite white kid that they propped him up to be, and they prop up every Duke player to be.
I got a great one for you.
Yes, go ahead. Cherokee Parks.
So yeah, I told you about him already. Damn.
Oh, you did?
Did I?
Maybe.
Okay, so no, I don't think I did. So
I was just thinking he was another one in that line.
Well,
and
Cherokee Parks.
For a
so
while.
I was going. I was out in Colorado for a football game, the one at Wyoming, and I'm picking up the rent-a-car from Avis. So I go to where you pick up the Avis bus, and there's this tall guy, like strikingly tall, and he's got some tats going
like
on,
7 foot tall.
and he's just burning a heater, dude. Like, smoking a cigarette,
ripping a dot, baby. Yeah,
I mean, like 6'11", 7 foot, smoking a cigarette. You don't see cigarettes that often. You don't see 7-footers.
You expect him to be Serbian. Yep.
It wasn't bloody.
Like
wasn't bloody Divac.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get on the bus. I'm like, that's Cherokee Parks. 100%.
Good on you, because that's really tough to notice these days if you hadn't seen him since his playing days.
Right away. And he's got like all kinds of tattoos, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he's been like an advocate for mental health, and he just was a nice guy. Like he just gave me a head nod, like, hey, how you doing? Smiled. And that was it. Like, but Cherokee Parks, dude.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I mean, now
I would have had to talk some shop with him. But
now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you know when he got drafted? It was a long time ago.
It would have been 94.
Yeah. I think it was 93 or 94.
They went to the championship game in 94. They lost to Arkansas. And then Grant Hill and Cherokee Parks were the two seniors. And then the next year was when Krzyzewski had the back problem. And he had brought Bill Gaudette coach, and they sucked.
And Jeff Capel hit the half-court shot against them.
Yeah, against Carolina. Yeah, so the overtime. Yeah, they lost that game.
Okay.
People don't remember it, but they did. They lost that game.
Yes.
That's Cherokee Parks would absolutely fit into that list. But like Leitner, to finish the thought off on Leitner before we got to go, like he like grew up poor, and he did go to a private high school because basically he was like the nighttime janitor. Like he was doing custodial work after school as like a work study to go to the school. And like he was like, yeah, my parents didn't have any money. Like he was like, it was hilarious. I go to Duke and they think I'm like just some Nepo baby, just cut from a different cloth.
But
and
Cam,
like,
you're
nope,
something else.
I was,
because as much as you give me a hard time for being positive, like you listen to this Duke fan being a Christian Leitner apologist.
Oh, man,
I love it. Right?
Love it, dude. I mean, it's still it's like I can't tell you anything Duke's done the last couple of years, really. But
it's hard because it's hard to
I
keep
could
up.
give you just about anything from Krzyzewski until I graduated high school. I could tell you anything.
You
about
know
those
who I
two
loved,
teams,
who
man.
was just an absolute MFer, was Quinn Snyder.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
coach, Quinn Snyder. Yeah.
Yeah. I think took Duke to that first Final Four with K, or after 86, the second one.
Yeah, I was gonna say 86
in 89.
I'll bet he was on the 89 team with Danny Ferry
Yeah.
and freshman Christian Leitner.
They got crushed by Seton Hall.
Yeah. Yep. Leitner went to the Final Four all 4 years. I don't think that'll ever happen again in men's basketball. A guy going to the Final Four all 4 years?
Hey, how old are you?
27.
I love your range. I mean, you're pretty amazing, dude.
Pretty good, dude. Pretty good. Most
It's
games
pretty
ever played in the
amazing.
NCAA tournament. And by the way, an impressive one that I don't feel great about that probably also will never be broken. Tyler Hansbrough, 4 wins at Cameron Indoor Stadium. That's really tough to do.
Psycho T.
That's Pete Souza. I fucking hated that guy.
Yeah,
as much
see?
as I
Yeah.
loved Leitner, I hated Hansbrough big time. Pete Souza, 1 o'clock, Pete Souza show. Mike as well.
Yeah.
This is the camp show. We'll be live high noon Eastern time tomorrow. We'll see you then.
I thought it's 11.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.